Listen here, family, and pull your chair all the way up, because the Remy Ma and Papoose situation just cracked wide open and the pieces flying out of that marriage are landing on Claressa Shields' front lawn. I told you months ago this was going to get ugly, and now it's uglier than any of us pictured. Papoose isn't just a man dragging his feet on a divorce anymore. Papoose is a man with a hand out, palm up, asking Remy Ma for half of everything her name built while he was standing behind her holding a purse. And Claressa Shields, bless her, is still out here waving pom-poms like she won the lottery when what she actually won is a bill she is going to be paying until her boxing gloves rot. Buckle in, because this one is loud. Before I take another breath, let me remind you that everything you are about to hear is entertainment and commentary. Allegedly this, allegedly that. The fair use notice is sitting right there in the description where it always sits. Now that the housekeeping is done, we can talk like grown folks. And what I need to say first is happy day, watch your surroundings, watch the people you share air with, because half the trouble in this world walks through your front door smiling. Speaking of doors, let's talk about the one Papoose refuses to walk through. The door labeled exit. Remy Ma just stood on a stage, microphone in her hand, crowd in front of her, and told the entire building that she will be single the second a certain somebody stops demanding half. Half. Say it out loud with me. Half of what she built while he was writing verses nobody was playing in their cars. Half of what she earned while she was standing on stages with her name on the marquee. Half of the paychecks she cashed while he was sitting on her couch waiting for the next opportunity to hold her handbag. The audacity is loud, family. The audacity has its own frequency. The audacity has its own zip code. Now Papoose got exactly one big check in his whole career. One. $1 million check that landed in his lap because Remy Ma's name was attached to the situation. After that check cleared, the well went dry. No follow-up hit. No breakout single. No standing ovation. Just a man on a couch. Then a man on a floor, then a man on the phone with somebody else's girlfriend, then a man on a lease that Claressa Shields is quietly paying for while he pretends to have his own address. The whispers going around say that apartment he supposedly has is more of a rumor than a residence. If a man has his own place, why was he sleeping on Remy Ma's couch until she pointed at the door? If a man has his own bed, why did his shoes never leave his wife's hallway? If a man has his own life, why is he auditioning to move into somebody else's? Here is the part that will keep you up tonight. Remy Ma took care of that man for 20 years, 2 decades, the whole span of a childhood. She fed him, she housed him, she carried his name on her back through prison sentences, through comeback tours, through love and hip-hop cameras, through Terror Squad reunions, through every award show where he stood next to her looking important. And when she finally got tired, when she finally said enough, the man didn't leave with dignity. The man leaned harder. The man said, "If you want me gone, you're paying me to go." That is not a husband. That is a hostage situation with paperwork. Claressa Shields thinks she snatched a prize. Bless her heart. Claressa Shields thinks she leveled up. Bless her heart twice. What Claressa Shields actually did is trade shifts with Remy Ma at the same understaffed job. Remy clocked out. Claressa clocked in. Same freeloader, same couch, same appetite, different woman signing the checks. And the checks are already flying. Mink coats for him. Mink coats for her. Matching mink coats like they're going to a costume party where the theme is denial. Studio time paid for by her. Music videos paid for by her. Rumor has it even the groceries are paid for by her. Meanwhile, the man's daughter, the daughter he begged Remy Ma to give him, the child he cried tears in interviews about wanting, is at home with a mother who is not asking him for a dime of child support because there isn't a dime to ask for. Let that sit on your chest for a second. Remy Ma isn't chasing him for child support. Remy Ma isn't dragging him through family court. Remy Ma isn't posting screenshots of unpaid bills. Remy Ma is walking away clean because she knows the man doesn't have anything worth taking. She built the empire. He was a tenant. And now the tenant wants to be listed on the deed on the way out. That's what "I want half" actually means. That's the audacity translated into English. That's the entitlement translated into court filings. Meanwhile, Claressa Shields, a world champion, an Olympic gold medalist, a woman who punched her way onto Wheaties boxes and into WWE storylines, is out here signing paperwork nobody in her circle is warning her about. The whispers going around are that Papoose has already had Claressa Shields put her signature on documents that tie him to her income streams. Tie him. Legally. On paper. So if this thing between them ends the way every thinking person in the room can already see it ending, Papoose walks away with pieces of Claressa Shields the same way he's trying to walk away with pieces of Remy Ma. Do you hear me, family? Do you hear the pattern? Do you hear the machine humming in the background of every photo op? This isn't love. This is a business model. This is a corporate takeover disguised as a romance. And I want to talk about that business model because it is the most important thing on the table tonight. Papoose has figured out a way to work without ever filling out an application. Papoose has figured out a way to earn without ever earning. Papoose signs to labels that don't push his records. Papoose promises artists he can develop them the way he claims he developed Remy Ma. And yet in 20 years of proximity to greatness, he cannot produce a single track that lives in anybody's car speakers. If you can write hits for the woman you claim to have built, why can you not write one hit for yourself? 1. Ask Fat Joe. Fat Joe has been writing one classic verse for over 2 decades. All Papoose needs is one. He cannot deliver it. He can only deliver invoices. The whispers going around also say the man has a gambling problem. A serious one. Not a boys' night at the boat problem. A real, deep, savings account shredding, jewelry box emptying problem. And when the rumor first started circling, Papoose hopped on social media to defend himself and swore up and down that his habits had nothing to do with the collapse of his marriage. Nothing to do with it. Family, if a man is running to the internet to clear his name about gambling, the gambling is louder than he wants us to know. And the specific rumor, and I'm going to say allegedly because I was not standing in the closet, the specific rumor is that when the household money ran low, the man was reaching into his wife's jewelry box and walking that jewelry straight to the pawn shop. The pawn shop, family. The pawn shop. Read that again slowly. The pawn shop. And now, and this is where the whole story becomes a horror film. Some of that same jewelry is allegedly showing up on Claressa Shields' arm. Look closely at those wrists. Look at the pieces. Look at the stones. Look at the settings. Ask yourself where those pieces came from. Ask yourself why nobody in Claressa Shields' inner circle sat her down and said, "Baby, that bracelet has a history." Because the woman who bought that jewelry, the woman who worked for that jewelry, the woman who earned every stone in that setting is Remy Ma. Not Papoose. Not Claressa Shields. Remy Ma. And every time Claressa Shields lifts her wrist for a photo, she is quite literally wearing another woman's paycheck. Now let's talk about the future, because I have been called a prophet in these comment sections and I intend to earn it again tonight. Mark my words. Claressa Shields is on the exact runway that Britney Spears sat on, and that Wendy Williams sat on, and I need every woman watching this to understand what I am about to say. When a certain kind of man attaches himself to a woman with money and attention and public exposure, that man's endgame is never love. That man's endgame is legal control. Britney Spears loved a man who ended up using her money to raise a family that wasn't hers. Wendy Williams loved a man who ended up in a room deciding what her checkbook did while she was fighting for her freedom. And in both cases, the world watched it happen in slow motion while the woman kept smiling for the cameras. Claressa Shields is next in that line if she does not wake up. Claressa Shields is standing in the exact same doorway those women stood in. Claressa Shields is signing the exact same kinds of papers those women signed. And Claressa Shields is being told the same lullabies those women were told. Papoose knows how to write. Papoose knows how to talk. Papoose knows how to sit across from a lawyer and describe a woman as unstable, as unfit, as chaotic, as needing supervision. The whispers going around are already planting those seeds. She's got some screws loose. He doesn't trust her with the baby. She's too emotional. She's too impulsive. She can't be trusted around money. Family, please recognize this soundtrack. This is the exact soundtrack that played before Britney Spears lost 13 years of her life to a conservatorship. This is the exact soundtrack that played before Wendy Williams lost her show, her savings, and her front door. And Claressa Shields is dancing to it in real time, thinking it's a love song. And imagine, just imagine, Papoose writing a book. Not a rap. A book. A tell-all with a glossy cover and an angry table of contents. Everything Claressa Shields ever whispered in his ear at 2 a.m. Every fight. Every insecurity. Every rumor about her family, about her exes, about her habits. Every screenshot, every voice note, every argument he just happened to record. That book would sell millions of copies before it ever hit a shelf. And Papoose knows it. He is not a man. He is a pending advance. He is a memoir with legs. Now let's rewind, because I want to make sure everybody understands how Claressa Shields ended up in this seat. The whispers going around, and these whispers are loud, are that Claressa Shields was allegedly engaged, or something very close to engaged, to somebody else at the exact same moment she started sliding into Papoose's phone. So she left one situation to chase another woman's husband. And then, on top of that, another woman came forward and said she used to work for Claressa Shields, and that Claressa Shields allegedly stepped into her marriage too. An employee. Her own employee's husband. Do you understand the pattern I am reading to you right now? Do you understand what a pattern like that means? Do you understand that a pattern this consistent is not a mistake? It is a personality? This is not a woman falling in love. This is a woman collecting other women's men like stamps in a scrapbook. And still, the man she collected doesn't even want to live in the same house as her. Claressa Shields has the bag. Claressa Shields has the endorsements. Claressa Shields has the champion belt. Claressa Shields has the platform. And Papoose, the freeloader who spent 20 years on Remy Ma's couch, will not move into Claressa Shields' actual home. He sleeps there a night here, a night there, keeps a toothbrush by the sink, and then goes back to the apartment she is quietly funding. What does that tell you? That tells you the man is not in love. The man is in an arrangement. The man is treating Claressa Shields like a shift at a job he doesn't like. Remy Ma, meanwhile, is not begging. Remy Ma is not crying on Instagram Live. Remy Ma is not sitting on couches for interviews trying to explain herself. Remy Ma is on stages, in booths, in gyms, in mommy mode, in boss mode, in I built this and I'll build the next one mode. Remy Ma even offered to pay the fees on the divorce herself. Read that sentence twice. Remy Ma offered to pay for the paperwork that ends her own marriage just so the man would walk away clean. And the man said no. Because the man doesn't want out. The man wants a bigger slice on the way out. The man wants a going away present the size of a career. That is why I want to plant a theory in your head. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? Papoose may be demanding half specifically because he knows Remy Ma will never say yes to half. He may be dragging this divorce on purpose. Because as long as the divorce is stuck in court, Papoose is still legally married to Remy Ma. And as long as Papoose is still legally married to Remy Ma, Papoose is not legally required to commit to Claressa Shields. He gets to keep the Claressa Shields income stream open while blaming his wife for why he can't put a real ring on Claressa Shields' finger. Do you see the game now? Do you see the whole board? Do you see the strings and where they lead? The man is playing chess on 3 tables and Claressa Shields is a pawn on all 3 of them. Now I want the women in the comments to do me a favor. If you had Claressa Shields money, Olympic gold medal money, WWE storyline money, Netflix documentary money, boxing purse money, endorsement money, and you didn't need a man to help you pay a single bill, would this be who you picked? Would you walk into a room full of successful, single, ambitious men and say, you know what I want? A married rapper who is currently being pulled through court by his wife because he's demanding half of her earnings? Would that be your pick? Because Claressa Shields could have picked from a whole catalog. She picked from the discount bin. And she thinks the discount is a designer piece. She thinks the clearance rack is a boutique. Claressa Shields also allegedly stepped away from her WWE run right when it was heating up. That was money. That was momentum. That was athletic conditioning. That was crossover exposure. And she walked away from it. For what? To sit next to a man on a couch and hold his hand while his wife serves papers? Family, this is not a glow-up. This is a career detour with a man attached to the wheel. And when the wheels come off, and they will come off, the man is going to be looking for the next driver's seat and Claressa Shields is going to be watching him from the shoulder of the highway. And another thing, Papoose has now started pulling his own daughter into the machine. The daughter Remy Ma is raising largely on her own. The whispers going around are that he told his daughter she needs to build her own brand because he's making money off of Claressa Shields' visibility and his daughter should be doing the same. Start a lip gloss line, start a hair line, start a something. Get tied to a woman with a spotlight and stand in that spotlight until the spotlight moves. That is the parenting advice this man is allegedly handing out. That is the legacy he is building. Not a discography, a dependency chart, a family tree of freeloaders. Let me put a real man on the table so we remember what one looks like. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown married one of the greatest voices this planet has ever produced. Bobby Brown could have walked away from Whitney Houston with a settlement that would have set him and his grandkids up for life. Every headline was ready. Every lawyer was ready. Every talk show host was ready to eat him alive for taking her money. And Bobby Brown, the man the tabloids painted as the villain of that marriage, walked away with nothing. He went back to work. He rebuilt his catalog. He toured. He hustled. He kept it moving. Nobody clapped for Bobby Brown loud enough for what he did. But he did it. Because that is what a grown man does when a marriage ends. You leave with your dignity, and you go earn the next chapter. Papoose could not carry Bobby Brown's suitcase. Papoose could not tie Bobby Brown's shoes. Papoose could not spell Bobby Brown's discipline. And I want to talk to the real women out here too, because there are real women. There are women who leave marriages without a lawsuit. There are women who raise children without a monthly demand. There are women who look at a broken man and say, you keep your pennies, I've got mine. Remy Ma is auditioning for that jersey right now. Remy Ma is telling the world she doesn't want his money because there is no money to want. Remy Ma is telling the world she doesn't want his help because his help was never help. And Remy Ma is telling the world she is single the second he stops asking for half. That's not a diss track. That's a mission statement. That's a woman filing her freedom in front of a stadium. Now let's zoom back in on Claressa Shields for a moment, because I want to be fair. Claressa Shields is talented. Claressa Shields is disciplined in the ring. Claressa Shields has done things in boxing no American woman has done before her. That is real. That is documented. That is on tape. Which is exactly why watching her spend that credibility on a man who is currently being publicly labeled a freeloader by his own wife is such a painful thing to watch. She had leverage. She had legacy. She had leverage on legacy. And she is spending it on a man who cannot even commit to sharing her mailing address. She is spending it on a man who will not even risk his own name being on the same power bill as hers. The Breakfast Club interview did not help. Sitting there telling the world she and Papoose got together after Remy Ma was already done. Meanwhile, Remy Ma is on the internet showing screenshots of Claressa Shields texting the very same husband asking for outfit advice, while also DMing him on the side asking him when he is going to leave. You cannot ask a woman what dress to wear while also asking her husband what plane to catch. That is not, we got together after. That is overlap. That is a work shift with a handoff. And the audience is not stupid. The audience is watching every timestamp. The audience is reading every screenshot. The audience is holding every receipt. And here is a truth nobody wants to say out loud. The only reason Claressa Shields is trending as hard as she is right now is because Papoose is still married. The second that divorce is finalized, the blog traffic slows. The second the paperwork is signed, the search volume drops. The second Papoose is a free man, Claressa Shields becomes just another woman dating a rapper you barely remember. The scandal is the engine. The scandal is the entire attention economy she is riding. And when the scandal ends, so does the ride. Mark my words. Mark them in ink. There is another possibility I need to put on the table, and it is a dark one. What if Papoose does not want the divorce finalized because he does not actually want Claressa Shields long-term? What if Claressa Shields is a chapter, not a book? What if there is already somebody else in his DMs, quieter, less famous, less televised, who checks all the boxes he actually wants? Somebody with a little money, a little patience, a lot of privacy, and zero interest in going viral. Because if you listen to how this man moves, that is the woman he is auditioning for. He is using Claressa Shields' brightness to attract the next quiet one. He is using Claressa Shields' spotlight to shop for shade. That is what a professional passenger does. That is what a career freeloader does when he is between hosts. Now let's talk about the record label situation because it deserves its own segment. Papoose is signed to a label. That label is not producing hits. That label is not producing headlines that don't involve his wife. That label is not putting out records that trend in any city, in any market, on any platform. And yet, and this is the part that stings, Papoose has managed to route pieces of Claressa Shields' brand into that label's orbit. Investments, introductions, alignments. When that label sinks, and family, mathematically it is sinking, Claressa Shields is going down with a ship she didn't even build. She is a passenger on a boat that isn't hers. And Papoose is the one who told her the water was safe. Claressa Shields is going to wake up. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not next month. But she is going to wake up. And when she wakes up, she is going to sound exactly like Remy Ma sounds right now. She is going to hop on a stage or an interview or a live and start telling the world what she saw with her own eyes. Every promise he broke. Every dollar he moved. Every night he wasn't where he said he was. Every contract he pushed under her pen. And the same audience that is cheering for her today is going to be the same audience shaking their heads at her tomorrow saying, "Girl, we told you. Every single one of us told you. We stood on stages and told you. We wrote comments and told you. We recorded whole videos and told you." The thing about a pattern is a warning. Remy Ma is the pattern. Remy Ma is the warning. And Claressa Shields is walking into the exact same building Remy Ma just walked out of, wearing the exact same jewelry Remy Ma used to wear, arguing with the exact same man Remy Ma is finally free from. That is not a coincidence. That is a rerun. That is a sequel nobody asked for. And I need everybody listening to hear this next line clearly. If a man will do this to a woman who stood by him for 20 years, who visited him when he had nothing, who put his name on stages when nobody was booking his name, who gave him a child he begged for on national television, what do you think that man will do to a woman he has only known for a couple of years? What do you think a man like that does when the shine wears off? What do you think he does when Claressa Shields' next fight doesn't sell as many tickets as her last one? What do you think he does when the endorsement checks slow down? He goes shopping. That's what he does. He goes shopping for the next host. And I want to be very honest about one more thing. Remy Ma is not blameless in the optics of this. Remy Ma sold a version of this marriage to the public for years. Remy Ma stood on red carpets and let the world believe she had captured black love. Remy Ma let a whole generation of young women look at her marriage and think, "I want that." And now that the curtain has been pulled back, some of those same young women are looking at Remy Ma with side eye, asking how she let it go on this long. That's a fair question. It's an uncomfortable question, but it's a fair question. Because when you let the world worship your relationship, you also invite the world to eulogize it. But even with that criticism on the table, Remy Ma still stands taller in this story than anybody else in it. Because Remy Ma is not asking for a rescue. Remy Ma is not asking for sympathy. Remy Ma is asking for one thing, and one thing only. She is asking the man to move his hand off of half of her money, so she can be officially, legally, publicly single. That is the whole request. That is the entire ask. Move your hand. Move your hand off my paycheck. Move your hand off my brand. Move your hand off my life. And in return, you can walk out of this marriage with everything you brought into it. Which, if we are being honest, is not much more than a suitcase and a habit. Now let's put a bow on this section because I want you thinking. I want you commenting. I want you sharing. Papoose is not a man having a midlife crisis. Papoose is a man running a decades-long strategy. Claressa Shields is not the love of his life. Claressa Shields is the current line item on a spreadsheet. Remy Ma is not a scorned wife. Remy Ma is a CEO shutting down an unprofitable division. And the divorce is not stuck because of legal complications. The divorce is stuck because the freeloader does not want to leave the building. If you are a woman watching this, and there is a version of this pattern anywhere in your own life, a man on your couch, a man on your lease, a man on your paycheck, a man on your name, this is your sign to move. Not tomorrow, not next paycheck, today. Because if you wait for the man to remove himself, you will be Remy Ma in a courtroom trying to explain why you carried him for 20 years. And nobody is going to clap for the years. They are only going to ask how much he took on the way out. Claressa Shields, if by some miracle this ever reaches your team, and I am not holding my breath, because your team is currently helping you post grocery shopping content with a man who has a wife, please look at the paperwork you signed. Please look at whose name is on which asset. Please look at who introduced you to which business partner in the last 12 months. Please look at who benefits if you have a bad year publicly. Please look at the timing of every big decision you have made since Papoose entered the room. Because the whispers going around are that the paperwork already exists. The paperwork is already sitting in a drawer, and the paperwork is not written in your favor. Remy Ma just delivered one of the cleanest verbal jabs of the year at a live show, and the internet lit up. I'll be single when a certain somebody stops asking for half. That is not a bar. That is a boundary set to a beat. That is a woman telling the whole industry, the whole culture, the whole audience, that she is done being anybody's retirement plan. And the whole culture heard her. Except for one man. He is still in the courtroom with his hand out. He is still on the internet defending his gambling. He is still on somebody else's arm wearing somebody else's mink. He is still stuck in the exact posture Remy Ma left him in. And Claressa Shields, bless her, bless her, bless her, is standing right next to him thinking she is winning. She is standing next to a scoreboard that hasn't been updated in years and pointing at the number. Let me widen the lens for a minute because I want you to see how big this actually is. This story is not just a rap wife and a boxer and a rapper. This story is a case study in how the industry uses women as ATMs and then leaves them holding a court date. Every generation has a version of this. In the 80s, it was Ike and Tina. In the 90s, it was Whitney and Bobby. Only Bobby actually walked away with his dignity when the numbers didn't add up. In the 2000s, it was Britney Spears watching a lawyer she barely knew rearrange her whole life. In the 2010s, it was Wendy Williams watching a man she trusted rearrange her entire savings account. And now, in this decade, it is Remy Ma looking across a courtroom at a man asking for half of a career he never worked one honest hour to build. History does not repeat itself. It just changes hairstyles. History does not repeat itself. It just puts on a new outfit and walks the same red carpet. And every single time, the same audience is standing on the sidelines yelling at the same woman not to open the same door. And every single time, the woman opens the door anyway because the man behind it swore he was different. He is not different. He is never different. He is a rerun with fresh lighting. And I need every woman under 30 who is watching this to pay attention, because this is not just a Remy Ma problem or a Claressa Shields problem. This is a template. There is a specific kind of man out there who does not want to marry a woman. He wants to merge with her. He does not want to build a household. He wants to move into a business. He does not want a wife. He wants a cosigner. And the reason this man is so dangerous is that he does not look dangerous on the outside. He looks helpful. He looks supportive. He looks like the man holding your purse while you go do the work he swears he taught you how to do. Watch how a man reacts when your success gets bigger than his. Watch how a man reacts when his name stops being the loudest name in your marriage. Watch how a man reacts when the industry starts inviting you to rooms his invitation cannot get him into. That reaction is the whole test. Papoose failed that test in public and on tape for 2 decades. And now, when the test finally hands him a grade, he is trying to argue with the teacher for half the diploma. Now let's talk about Claressa's inner circle, because somebody in that room is watching all of this and staying quiet on purpose. Somebody in that room has already run the numbers. Somebody in that room has already read the paperwork. Somebody in that room already knows the man is a walking liability. And that person is either afraid of losing their check, or afraid of losing their access, or afraid of being the messenger who gets shot. Claressa Shields, if you are ever going to hear one line of mine, hear this one. The person telling you everything is fine is being paid to tell you everything is fine. The person telling you the wife is the crazy one is being paid to tell you the wife is the crazy one. The truth is not on the payroll. The truth is standing outside the building holding a sign that says, Remy Ma tried to warn you. Let me say one more thing about Remy Ma before I close a loop I opened earlier. Remy Ma could have played this whole thing dirty and nobody would have blamed her. Remy Ma could have hit social media with receipts every single day. Remy Ma could have gone on every podcast, every radio show, every daytime couch, and destroyed this man's public image piece by piece. Remy Ma could have used the daughter as leverage. Remy Ma could have dragged Claressa Shields through the mud in verses the same way Claressa Shields has been dragging Remy Ma through interviews. Remy Ma chose not to. Remy Ma chose the high road. Remy Ma chose to say only what needed to be said, in the exact size it needed to be said in, and let the man's own behavior finish the rest of the sentence for her. That, family, is a boss move. That is not letting a man off easy. That is not keeping the peace for the kids. That is a woman who has already read the last page of the book and knows the ending doesn't need her signature. Now let's close the loop I opened at the top of the video. I said this was going to get ugly. And here we are. Papoose asking for half. Claressa Shields signing paperwork she has not read closely enough. Remy Ma paying for a divorce she did not cause. Jewelry showing up on wrists it does not belong on. A gambling problem someone tried to sweep under the rug. A daughter being taught to build a brand instead of a childhood. A label going nowhere with a boxer riding shotgun. And a marriage that cannot end because the freeloader has finally figured out that still married is the most profitable status he has ever held. The whispers going around say this divorce may never actually finalize as long as the demand for half stays on the table. That means Papoose stays married. That means Claressa Shields stays a girlfriend. That means the whole circus keeps spinning until somebody in that triangle finally decides that pride and paperwork are not worth another year of headlines. My money, my whole entire money, is on Remy Ma being the one to end it, and ending it in a way that makes the internet stand up out of their seats. Because Remy Ma has been quiet on the details for a long time. Remy Ma has been playing the long game. And when a woman like Remy Ma finally decides to open the entire file, everybody in that file better have their receipts in order. Papoose does not have his receipts in order. Claressa Shields does not have her receipts in order. Remy Ma has been holding her receipts, alphabetized, dated, and notarized, for 2 decades. And the moment she decides to lay them on the table, the story you think you are watching right now is going to look like a preview compared to the movie that comes next. The movie that comes next has a bigger budget. The movie that comes next has a longer runtime. The movie that comes next has an audience Papoose and Claressa Shields cannot afford to sit in front of. Let me leave you with one more warning I have been sitting on. The one thing every one of these public triangles has in common. Ike and Tina, Bobby and Whitney, Britney and her handlers, Wendy and hers, and now Papoose and Remy Ma, is that the man in the middle always underestimates how loud the woman is willing to get when she finally decides she is done. Papoose is looking at Remy Ma right now and calculating how much she is willing to say. He is not calculating correctly. Remy Ma is not the type of woman who bluffs. Remy Ma has spent years telling us exactly who she is in every verse, every interview, every moment she has had a microphone. When she says he wants half and she is not giving it, she is not negotiating. She is announcing. And announcements from Remy Ma tend to become chapters in other people's downfalls. Ask the men who tried her in verses. Ask the women who tried her in interviews. Ask the industry insiders who thought she wouldn't come back from a prison sentence with her career intact. Remy Ma has a very specific kind of memory. Remy Ma writes things down. Remy Ma is not the kind of woman who forgets a face, a name, a receipt, or a promise. And right now, Remy Ma is looking directly at Papoose, and Papoose is looking anywhere but back. So here is where I leave you tonight, family. Watch the paperwork. Watch the timelines. Watch who is suddenly quiet on which day. Watch who is suddenly loud on which day. Watch the jewelry. Watch the labels. Watch the daughter. Watch the mother. Watch the boxer. Watch the rapper. Watch the wife. Watch the girlfriend. Watch the accountant nobody is talking about. Watch the assistant nobody is naming. Because every single one of them is about to make a move, And one of those moves is going to end this era of the story and start the next one. And when that move happens, I will be right back here in this chair breaking it down for you the way only I know how to break it down. If this made sense to you, if this connected the dots for you, if you have been sitting on the sidelines of this story waiting for somebody to say out loud what you've been thinking in your head, do me the small favor. Tap that like. Share this with the friend who thought Claressa Shields won. Drop a comment telling me who you think ends this saga first, Remy Ma or Claressa Shields, because I am reading every single one of them, and I might just read yours on the next video. And if you are new here, subscribe, because there is a whole lot more coming, and you do not want to miss the next chapter. Because trust me, family, this is not the ending. This is the setup for the ending. And the ending is going to be so loud it rearranges the room.